And of course, it was like the second cold, right? Then I took it all the way to other things that were, of course, that were beautiful. The other lady that approached me, but then Stephanie said to me, "Yeah, you are you sure that you understood what I said?" And I through the back channel she wrote. So I said to her, "Yeah, I think I got it, but I do need to hear you more." Because the lesson from yesterday as well was like, you need to listen more. So I said to her, let's hear what you have to say. So she said, I'm going to call you back because I'm busy. Okay, whenever you can, call me please, because I want to hear you, because probably I'm not understanding this. When the first part of my understanding came with Stephanie during our lesson yesterday, I did connect the other lady with the situation, but I was disregarding the second call because the other lady in the play was all about saying, oh, your hair is beautiful, you are so beautiful, you are whatever. And I didn't mention that yesterday during the lesson, so that was the second call. So when finally Stephanie had time, she called me and we started to talk. And then, yeah, the points get all like connected. And the lesson wasn't that I was like, I don't know, disconnected from other kind of, no, it was just that I was beautiful. And I didn't take it into any kind of consideration. Because I always disregard like that part of my thought process, because it's just, for me, there's no need. I was wondering, like, but why do I need to feel beautiful? Why do I need to consider myself beautiful? And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. Yes, of course, if you cannot see yourself beautiful, how come you can see, how you will be able to see the world as the kingdom of heaven if you don't see yourself beautiful? And I was, oh my God. And it all makes sense now. I mean, it really, really makes sense, because the message came from this beautiful woman that's called Stephanie, that works right now for the Fashion Week. And it's all about beauty. I mean, if you are not able to see yourself beautiful, you will not be able to see the kingdom of heaven in everything, because the kingdom of heaven is beautiful. So I will always be grateful with Stephanie for really, really taking the time to get this message to me, because I was disregarding everything. And in fact, all the other things that came, yeah, it was as well true. I mean, the other lady and Andy's interpretation of how we are aligning some kind of frequency, so we do receive messages in that frequency, not the other one. But the common denominator here, if I can say it like that, is that I was disregarding the part of my own beauty, because I don't feel so comfortable saying that I am beautiful. It's not that I don't feel like that I am, because I always like, yeah, I'm okay, but feeling beautiful, it's amazing. So thank you, Stephanie. You were really, really my sun yesterday. And I guess
Super important to have sun in our life, and I can appreciate that too. I really, really appreciate seeing the beauty in
Stephanie, keep repeating it to her.
you. Don't stop. Workbook lesson 41. God goes with me wherever I go. Right now, I have to go underneath my desk, fix my light so I can see. Okay. All right. And
Lee,
close it
before
out.
you even start reading,
Oh yeah, stop me.
I'm in a motel tonight, this morning, and when I walked into the bathroom this morning, there's a bag hanging over the
Oh
toilet,
God.
and it says "Good Hair Day," but it was folded over, so it said "God here today." I said, "That's cool," and then I look at the lesson. God goes with me wherever I go. There I
that's
Yeah,
am.
so
that's the
cool.
stuff, man.
So Conrad
Post that.
Mr. Hilton made sure that God was going to be with me. I think that's pretty terrific. I ought to
It
write him.
is.
except he's probably dead about 50 years ago.
Should post it to Facebook. That you took a great picture of it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right, I'm off to our book now. Lesson 41. God goes with me wherever I go. Today's idea that God goes with me wherever I go will eventually overcome completely the sense of loneliness and abandonment all the separated ones experience. Depression is an inevitable consequence. Inevitable consequence of separation. I'm going to make the letters bigger on this book real quick. It's going to mess me up for half a second, so bear with me here. There we go. Oh my God, that's too big. Go down a little bit. Okay. Today's idea that God goes with me wherever I go will eventually overcome completely the sense of loneliness and abandonment all the separated ones experience. Depression is an inevitable consequence of separation. So are anxiety, worry, a deep sense of helplessness, misery, suffering, and intense fear of loss. These are all inevitable consequences of separation. The separated ones have invented many egoic cures for what they believe to be the ills of the world. But the one thing the separated ones do not question is the reality of the problem But the one thing that the separated ones do not do is question the reality of the problem, which is their belief in separation. Good morning, Janine. Yet the belief in separation's effects cannot be cured because the problem of separation isn't real. The idea for today that God goes with me wherever I go has the power to end all this foolishness in the belief in separation forever. And foolishness it is, despite the serious and tragic forms the belief in separation may take. Deep within you is everything that is perfect, ready to radiate through you and out into the world. Your holiness deep within you will cure all sorrow and pain and fear and loss, because it will heal the mind that thought of these things, these separations, as real. And your holiness will cure the effects of the belief in separation, which are the sorrow, fear, pain, and loss that you suffer out of your mind's allegiance to the ego's beliefs in separation itself.
Okay, seriously, you just said
Uh-huh.
something. You just
What'd I
said
do?
something.
Tell me.
You said, well, when you just said separation cannot be cured because it is not real. Oh my goodness, all the things that came to me that are not real that have been that are incurable. And we
Trying to
want
cure it
to look,
makes them real.
yeah, and we've looked right that too, and we've looked for the cure, and we haven't found it in 50 years until I found that the cure was to know the truth about the brain, and that the brain was working so well and perfectly just because I didn't like the output. It was the input that was going in that had to be
Yes.
understood. And so
Yes.
there you are.
That's true. And this lesson's kind of amazing. Some of them that, like yesterday's, it was short and sweet. This one has a deep sense of teaching to it, and it's making me stumble a little bit more than I normally do. So I'm going to read that third paragraph with that blockbuster sentence in
I
there.
thought finished. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. This is a big, long lesson, and it's okay for you to jump in because it's confusing. This one's actually 9 paragraphs, which is about 4 paragraphs longer than most of them. So I'll dig a little deeper and try and read a little smoother. I think that'll help a bit. All right. So if you're trying to follow along with me, I apologize, first of all. Actually, I feel like it might be easier this time around if I read the lesson. I don't want to shift gears that way. Sorry, guys. Making live decisions here. I'm trying to decide to do the thing that's going to be the clearest for us. And in this case, we were repeating the lesson so many times I stumbled because of that. So I'm going to start up with paragraph 3. You guys can follow along on the visual if you want. It might be really helpful today. So that link to ACIM Morning Coffee up at the top will lead to the live video where you could read along if you wish. All right, paragraph 3. Deep within you is everything that is perfect, ready to radiate through you and out into the world. Your holiness deep within you will cure all sorrow and pain and fear and loss, because your holiness will heal the mind that thought these things of separation were real, and your holiness will cure the effects of belief in separation, which are these sorrow, pain, fear, loss that we suffer out of your mind's allegiance to the ego's belief in separation itself. All right. Just making sure I'm in the right spot here. Yeah, 41 and 41. Okay. Paragraph 4. You can never be deprived of your perfect holiness because holiness's source, which is God, goes with you wherever you go. You can never suffer because the source of all joy, which is God, goes with you wherever you go. You can never be alone because the source of all life, which is God, goes with you wherever you go. Nothing can destroy your peace of mind because God goes with you wherever you go. We understand that you do not believe all this idea that God goes with you wherever you go. We know you don't believe this. How could you, when the truth that God goes with you wherever you go is hidden deep under or deep within, under a heavy cloud of insane thoughts, dense and obscuring, yet representing all you see? Today we'll make our first real attempt to get past this dark and heavy cloud and to go through this dark and heavy cloud of insane thoughts to the light beyond. There will be only one long practice period today. In the morning, as soon as you get up, if possible, sit quietly for some 3 to 5 minutes with your eyes closed. At the beginning of the practice period, repeat today's idea that God goes with me wherever I go, very slowly. Then make no effort to think of anything. Try instead to get a sense of turning inward, past all the idle thoughts of the world. Try to enter very deeply into your own mind, keeping your mind clear of any thoughts that might divert your attention. From time to time, you may repeat the idea that God goes with me wherever I go, if you find it helpful. But most of all, try to sink down and inward, away from the world and all the foolish thoughts of the world. You are trying to reach past all these things. You are trying to leave appearances and approach reality. It's quite possible to reach God. In fact, it's quite easy. Because to reach God is the most natural thing in the world. You might even say to reach God is the only natural thing in the world. The way will open if you believe that it's possible to reach God in the world. This exercise can bring very startling results, even the first time this exercise is attempted. And sooner or later, this exercise to reach God in the world is always successful. We will go into more detail about this kind of practice as we go along, but this exercise to reach God in the world will never fail completely. And instant success is possible. Okay, Dr. Natalie, I'm almost done. Paragraph
Okay.
9. Throughout the day, use today's idea that God goes with me wherever I go, often, repeating it very slowly, preferably with eyes closed. Think of what you are saying, what the words mean. Concentrate on the holiness that the words imply about you. On the unfailing companionship that's yours, on the complete protection that surrounds you. You can indeed afford to laugh at fear thoughts, remembering that God goes with you wherever you go. Whew, sorry about that. Hard read there, guys. We'll get smoother as we move ahead. But why don't we go ahead and do that 5-minute session, that one long 5-minute session today. You can close your eyes. I'll repeat the phrase several times. God goes with me wherever I go. Hold that for yourself, and Dad, if you want to say something, go for it.
No. It's all good. Go on.
All right. Everybody relax, close your eyes, and remember, God goes with me wherever I go. Turn within. Remember how our partners are connected. All of us here on the Sonship. God goes with me wherever I go. 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 All right, today's lesson, God goes with me wherever I go. Open up your eyes if you wish, or relax. I'm going to continue and read our notes out of A Course in Miracles workbook for dummies. God goes with me wherever I go. Lesson 41 introduces the term separated ones. We need to understand what is meant by that strange terminology. Time and space are a dimension of perception. Your perception can either align with the truth of who you are or bear witness to the false beliefs that you're separate from the oneness of all that is. Although separation is impossible, since your mind is an inseparable part of the mind of God, it is possible to believe that you're separate from that one self. Whenever you believe that you're separate from God, your source, you're following the false, fear-based belief system of the ego. This thought system distorts the truth and attempts to replace the truth with this imagined world that supports the ego's belief. That is, it is a separate, autonomous entity. Another term for separated ones would be the split-minded. When someone is split-minded, their mind's allegiance vacillates between two possible thought systems. One thought system is based on the belief of separation, limitation, lack, and fear. This is the thought system of your ego. When your mind is listening to the voice of the ego, you perceive yourself as separate, autonomous, as a separate autonomous ego body in competition with other ego bodies for limited resources that you perceive are needed for survival. Most of us blindly follow the egoic thought system into which we were previously indoctrinated. Yet even when you're following your ego's fear-based thought system, there is another part of your mind that knows the truth of who you are. This is why the separated ones are also referred to as the split-minded. We could call this part of your mind your intuition, your higher self, the Holy Spirit or voice of God. This is that inner guide that we previously spoke about, which represents your higher ideals and supports your reawakening to your spiritual magnificence as a child of God. This inner guide represents a thought system that's based on unconditional love, forgiveness, unity, and the truth of who you really are. Regardless of your current allegiance to your egoic belief in separation, this inner guide remains part of your mind. Its guidance cannot be lost. But you can fail to access your inner guide. Ultimately, however, since it represents the voice for truth, you'll eventually reawaken to follow its guidance. This voice for God is always available and resides within your mind. This inner voice waits patiently within the mind of all who perceive themselves to be separate. It's waiting for you to realize that there must be a better plan, and when you choose to silence your ego, you can ask your inner guide for help. But then you have to stop and listen. The answers that you seek will be provided. This voice for God represents a thought system of abundance, joy, peace, happiness, love, forgiveness, and unity. It is a thought system based on the truth. that you are God's beloved child with whom he is well pleased. This inner voice or Holy Spirit is always with you because it's part of your mind. Our belief in separation is the cause of all depression, suffering, abandonment, and loneliness. I'm just going to read that again in case you've ever wondered why you're depressed or suffering or feeling abandoned or feeling lonely. It's only a belief we hold true. Our belief in separation is the cause of all depression, suffering, abandonment, and loneliness. The ego's fear-based thought system is the cause of the worry, anxiety, misery, and all the suffering that you experience. Perceiving itself to be an innocent victim of outside forces that are beyond its control, your ego develops many numbers of plans which are aimed at curing the ill effects of its belief in separation. Don't you believe it? This victim consciousness is a trap. Because the ego believes that happiness to be something that comes from outside of you, it develops numerous plans to make you happy. Your ego believes that since you're incomplete and not whole, that there's something outside of you that can make you happy and whole. Your ego's plans for your happiness typically revolve around you gaining wealth, fame, health, power, or sex. For example, your ego tells you that you will be happy when you can move out on your own. And when you move out and you're not happy, it tells you that you'll be happy when you get married. But when you get married, it tells you you'll be happy when you have kids. And when you have kids, it claims you'll be happy when your children are grown. Whenever each goal is achieved, but happiness is not obtained or sustained, your ego adopts a new plan. All your egoic plans for happiness are doomed to fail. Why do you think that is? It's because all the ego's plans fail to address the true source of the problem. Your happiness was lost when you chose to follow the ego's voice for fear, limitation, and lack. Your ego can never fix the problem because your ego's thought system is the problem. You're attempting to solve the problem of separation while maintaining your belief in separation. And this is impossible. The problem cannot be fixed on the outside. The problem resides within your split mind. The only way to correct the problem is at the source of the problem, which is your allegiance to the ego's fear-based thought system. Your problems remain unsolvable because you're attempting to minimize its effect rather than eliminate the problem's cause. The problem itself is not real, but you still must correct the false belief that created the fear-based, delusional world that you perceive. Your split mind is the problem. Choose to follow the voice for oneness and accept the truth that God is within you, and the illusion of separation, with all of its ill effects, must disappear. Our questions for today are: all your life, you've been following your ego's fear-based thought system. By following your ego's plan, have you obtained the lasting peace, joy, happiness, love, and abundance that you seek and deserve? What do you think, Judy? Have you? Did you get it all?
You should see what we are seeing
Did,
right now.
could you get all of it?
Lee
All right,
has
next question.
this beautiful girl doing poking his poking his back and his head, and he's doing great. I mean, he has no split mind right now.
Oh my goodness. That made her so happy. Gracie, everybody loves your poking. Good job. Do you believe that you can? So the next question. We have three questions here. So all your life you've been following your ego's fear-based thought system. By following your ego's plan, have you obtained lasting peace, joy, and happiness, love, and abundance that you seek and deserve? The next question is, do you believe that you can escape the negative
Can you read
effects?
those questions slowly, please?
Yes,
Thank you
yes,
very
of
much.
course. Yes, I'm sorry I sped through that. I did read that first one twice. The second one, do you believe you can escape the negative effects of a fear-based thought system by following that same thought system that was designed to create and perpetuate fear in the first place? And the last question is, and I'll leave them up so we can talk through them, isn't it time that you get a new plan that's not based on the fear, lack, and limitation that you are trying to avoid? Whew, God goes with me wherever I go. Let's talk about this and find out how to make sure we keep this with us today.
Yeah, this is an important lesson because what it really does is it moves us from there's four steps in learning. The first step is unconscious incompetence. Unconscious incompetence is when we don't know that we don't know that we have the problem. This lesson here is telling us what the problem is. It's our belief in separation. As long as you want to believe that, you will not realize that that is the problem. As long as you believe that you're separate and that's your reality, you can never escape fear within that thought system because the thought system itself, that belief, causes the problem. So that's like, yeah. And let me just quickly go through these steps. Unconscious incompetence. I'll give you an example. Johnny sees Joey riding the bike. He assumes that since Joey can ride the bike, he must be able to ride the bike. He jumps on Joey's bike. He quickly falls off. Prior to the time of him experiencing the falling off of the bike, he was unconsciously incompetent. He didn't know that he had the problem of not being able to ride the bike. So when Joey jumps on the bike and falls off, he's now moved up to the second level of learning, which is conscious incompetence. Johnny now knows that he cannot ride a bike. This is not this is really a momentous occasion. If we've listened to this lesson can move us to conscious incompetence, where it now identifies the problem. The problem is our belief in separation. Okay, and I could tell you once you remove that belief, all fear dissipates. Okay, so, but once you reach conscious incompetence, you have a choice. So right now we're at a crossroads where we have a choice. We can continue to realize that we've got the problem and not do anything about it, or we can say to ourselves, now that I know what the problem is, I can look for a solution. Okay, and in the case of riding a bike, I can get on the bike and I can practice my balance. I might actually end up having a set of training wheels on, but I can eventually, as I practice, I can move from that point of being in the problem and not having it resolved to conscious competence, where if I pay attention to what I'm doing, I can ride the bike pretty successfully. Eventually, as I learn my balance, I can even take off the training wheels. And eventually, at first, I have a situation of conscious competence where I have to pay attention to what I'm doing, which is what we have to do. We have to ask for that inner guidance and listen to the voice telling us that, yes, God is in me, God is everywhere, all those various things that the lessons teach us. Eventually, we reach the fourth level of consciousness, which is unconscious competence, where we can just go about our day to day situation. We can be in this world and still realize that we're not part of it. Fear will not arise in that situation. So, this lesson here can give you the point that now it identifies the problem. The problem is your thought in separation. As long as you want to hang on to that belief, you are trying to resolve the problem within the cause of the problem, which is your belief. Change the belief, which is the core problem, and all fear dissipates. So, that's just something if you take this lesson to heart, okay, and you adopt the idea that you are not separate, this world, okay, will not depress anything because you'll know that it's not your reality. Very important, but you have to embrace that. And what I would encourage you to do is just uh, take a little leap of faith. And when you take that leap of faith, you'll find that as you step out on that belief that God is with you everywhere, you'll find experiences that will build that foundation under that belief, and you'll be able to cross into a non into a thought system based on love and forgiveness and that oneness, because that's the problem. That's the problem that needs to be resolved. And you can never resolve the problem within the fear based thought system. That's the problem. And the only thing that you can do within a fear based thought system is try to manage and control your fear, never eliminate it. So, thank you.
Oh, well, I'd like to say that this is the reason that I overcame um, anxiety disorder, that they say, and I never used a pill, but I had it for 50 something odd years. And this is this is proof. I mean, not what you're saying is proof, but proof is putting it to action, this exact thing. And this is why I was able to overcome it. And here I was always looking for a crutch, always looking for a tool, always looking to cope and manage. And people talk about, oh, coping and manage, but they don't understand when I say, no, I'm not coping and managing, because I don't even have it anymore. It doesn't exist. And it's exactly why. So this is like putting it to words as to what I did and how and how it actually came undone. So just wanted to add that because I see exactly it put to words now.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably mentioned one time my dark night of the soul, but when I was out there projecting, okay, and I had left my body and I was being dragged into the abyss. When I realized that, and I'll say, God is with me. When I realized that all that I was love and beamed that demon or whatever you want to call it, that force that was dragging me out, that I sensed as evil. When I beamed only love to it and accepted it as it is, it transformed before me. It became a smiley face, beautiful, loving. God is with you everywhere, with or without the body, but you need to accept that. God's flow, God, unconditional love flows regardless of it. We've got to realize that God loves us and that flow is constant, but we can reject or turn away from that flow and believe that it's not there. It's always flowing. It's just we refuse to accept it. So whenever you realize that God is unconditional love and that like begets like, and you must be that love, and you just project love, your world, even this world of time and space, will transform before your eyes. Fear is something that is false evidence appearing real to your belief in separation. That we're not a oneness of all that is. That is the problem. And we've been indoctrinated, unfortunately, into that belief system. There's never been anything wrong with any of us. We're perfect, whole, and complete. We've just been given a wrong plan. That's the problem. It's our plan. Scrap it, overthrow it, have a little faith and trust that you are perfect, whole, and complete, and give yourself permission to have a happy, healthy, abundant experience of love and accept, and you'll be just fine.
You
But
know what? One quick ad, Tom, and everybody. I wanted to just add this because I wanted to show you how my whole entire life changed after this. I I I I went and I knew what I wanted in a job. It clearly came to me. I clearly I went to get this job that didn't exist, and I got it. And I'm so happy in this job, and because it was clear to me what I wanted, and I knew you have to know what you want before you could get it. Then I created a bag out of my vision, and it's come out exactly the way that I've wanted, that I visioned it. So I'm just saying that now all things have been possible that I've chosen to do just because of this. That's it.
Okay, guys. Um, I want to share my experience before I have to go in a second. While we were meditating, while Lee was guiding us with our eyes closed, I like to travel. I like to ascend, and I'll say I ascended into the heavens or into the cosmos, whichever word fits you. While we were meditating, I went up and I asked God to allow me to see him. It's like, okay, I was questioning the whole basis of he's with me. And it's like, okay, I'm taking all the exercises. I want to see differently. I want to see. And he was like, look inside. You're looking for something through your natural eyes, and that's not it. And I kind of just drifted, and it was like everything disappeared. And I saw the color of him. I can't explain it. Inside of me, as I walked forward, it was like I was surrounded by this glory, by this color, by this something. Every step I took, as my body moved and shook, I could see him inside my. It was like a three-dimensional color scheme here, like my flesh, my color. But as I took a step forward, I could see the color come out of my body. That was actually him. When I started really digging into, whoa, look at this color, every time my arm would wave, the color, like it was in me every time I moved. And he said, that's how I am. You've been too busy looking at what you've earthly created, and you haven't looked inside where my love is, where I dwell. And he says, I am with you. Don't you see it every time you walk, every time you move? And it was so beautiful how every movement that I made, he was right there. And I was able to take that and come back down to earth. And now I'm going to do the exercises seeing him because I have that visual now from that whole experience. And it was, if I could just, you know, Lee, you talked about that woman who could see the color that, oh my gosh, I can't explain. Every time I walked, I would see the color splash. And when I focus on the inner, I could feel the frequency. I could hear the sound. Even now, I could, but it takes me looking internal, not external. So, guys, that was my experience. It's amazing. That's all I can say. But I got to go for work. I got to go to work. But y'all have a good day. That was amazing.
Thank
That's
you,
a
Doctor.
beautiful story. Thank you for sharing. I loved it. Um, or a beautiful experience, better. I would like to share something, if I can, if I might.
Okay, go
um,
ahead.
this morning when I was reading the lesson and also another part in the book, I had this idea. Well, I'm trying to explain it in my mind. It's a little bit complicated, but I will be aware of the idea or the fact that God is with me right now, whatever I'm going here. So I'm going to explain it. Some years ago, I went to Marruecos. How you say that in English? Morocco? 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 Morocco?
Morocco.
Yeah, Morocco.
Morocco.
With two other friends, my best friend at the time and her sister, because the idea was that we were going to look for a place to hold yoga retreats there. So we went full of expectations, and the trip really got into a nightmare for me, because I got in the midst of two sisters wanting. I don't know. I felt mistreated. I felt it was very, very, very bad experience. And at the end of the trip, I just took them out of my life. I put them out and I said, okay, they caused me a lot of pain. I don't want to see them anymore. And the friendship with my best friend just ended there. But this morning I was reading the lesson, and then I said, I wish that God was with me there where I went, because if he was with me, then I would have maybe acted differently. And then immediately the idea came, and he said, and I thought, I realized God was with me, but I was not aware. So actually, the whole idea is not that saying, or is not that God goes with you, because anyway, he is with us wherever we go. The thing is that we must be aware of that, and when we think on that, when we bring it into our reality, then it is that way. So then I said, okay, he was with me at the time, but I was not aware then, but I am aware now that he was with me at the time. So I immediately took my phone and I sent a message to my friend, and I said, you are in my mind right now. You and your sister. I love you both. Send my greetings to her. All is well. I'm in peace. I love you. And that was that was the way I completed the lesson today, in a way like, okay, God was with me then. I was just not aware, but now I'm aware, and I will restore. I'm not going to restore the friendship, because it's really, but at least I am in peace. She didn't reply. Of course, I think she is completely out of her. She's surprised, so I'm not expecting her to answer, because we really had a fight. But at least I'm in peace now, because I know God is with me right now, and he was with me back then. Thank you. I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Louisa.
It's amazing because this lesson today began. I mean, the session today began with the story about me learning about the beauty within me through Stephanie's guidance, and everything that we have been sharing here and experiencing here is exactly like, if you're not willing to see yourself as beauty as you are, as God created you, then of course everything outside of you will not be as that beautiful. So I don't know, today is like the lesson of beauty, because God goes with me wherever I go, so I must be as He is, as beautiful as Dr. Natalie said the color was, as Luisa just realized, as everything it is. So it's beautiful. And in order to follow these questions of Tom, that always gives us so much space to rearrange our belief systems. The last question is, isn't it time that you get a new plan that is not based on the fear, lack, and limitation that you are trying to avoid? Of course it's time. But in order to do that, we need to hear completely. To hear completely, it's like hear yourself. Within yourself, it's God. So You need to let go the fear so you can hear him and acknowledge that you are a part of him. And that will unlock everything else for you to try to follow his plan instead of yours. You can do your plans, you can plan your life, and you can have your your ambitions and things like that. But you need to trust that if God leads you to other path, or things get like rearranged in some form, it's for the greater good. And you just need to trust that it will be played in a way that you will always be supported and successful. Yeah, so you can always succeed in those circumstances. So thank you very much for all those sharings, beautiful sharings.
That was really beautiful, Adriana. I couldn't agree with you more. I think that some people actually will go through a process where they got that split-minded way of looking at things, the way Tom explained it. And so you think you're being led by God, but you have so much fear on that. Oh, it's, oh my God, God, you're leading me the wrong way, and you go nuts. In my opinion and my experience, when God is leading me, it's a good feeling. It's a joyful feeling. It's peaceful feeling that when things fall into place without my trying, it's a good feeling, and that tells me that that is the plan that God wants me to follow. This morning, I woke up in a motel. I told this to a few people by email, and I went into the bathroom. There's a bag that's hanging on a hook, and it says "Good Hair," HAIR, Good Hair Day. That's what it said. And in it, of course, is a hair dryer, which I don't have much use for. But it was folded in such a way that by itself, I didn't do this. It said good. It said God. It took out one of the O's. It said God here today. Now I could have just said God here today, HAIR. But then I thought, oh, how about HERE? God here today. And then I look at the lesson. What's the lesson say? It's covered up right now. I can't get the exact time, but that's it. It's like God is with
God
us.
goes with me wherever I go.
God goes with me wherever I go, even in a Hilton hotel where I happen to be here. I mean, how could that be any more clear to me, at least? And I have fun. I have fun playing with words that way, especially when it comes out like that. And today I'm about to meet with the leader for the first time face to face of this whole Liberia deal that I'm working with, and a commissioner, a local commissioner. I'm in Savannah, who used to play with the Harlem Globetrotters. I can't wait to see him. For those of you too young to know who the Harlem Globetrotters were, um, the Harlem Globetrotters were this incredible team of basketball players that were way beyond any of the amazing things that people do today. They were doing silly things and and making us laugh at the other team because they would do all these tricks and things and fool the other team and laugh at them, and everybody in the audience laughed at them. And I don't know if any of it was ever staged. I'm going to ask them because it was
It was
hilarious.
all staged. They always played the Washington Wizards. It was Harlem Globetrotters
Oh,
versus
oh,
the
you do.
Washington Wizards every time, and they're still around and they're still doing it.
I know. Yeah, this guy, his name Rivers, his last name. I forget his first name. He's. I can't wait to see him. I'm going to be looking up at him, I'm sure. But I talked to him last night on the phone at the restaurant that we went to, and he's going to send me some YouTube videos of when he was playing there, He replaced Marcus Haynes, who was probably the greatest dribbler ever. And I didn't know that, Lee. Thanks for telling me that because it was just more fun to watch them than anything else I could think of when I was a kid.
I hear you.
Yeah, it was so cool. But we can have a lot of fun if that's what this lesson is about. Once again, just remember God is with us wherever we go. You can't get rid of him if you wanted to because you wouldn't be you anymore. So it's really cool. He's always there.
Luisa,
Thank you.
Luisa, I guess, has some sharing right now, so I'm gonna hand the mic to Luisa.
Thank you. It's just that
Okay?
I just got the I just saw not the recording, the streaming in Facebook, and I see that you have a yellow shirt, and you know in Colombia we say, and it goes with your conversation about beauty today. We say el que de amarillo se viste a su belleza se atiene, and that means the one who dresses in yellow sticks to his beauty. So that is
You're so silly. That's why you wanted the mic? You
yes.
couldn't write that in the back channel?
No more.
No,
Yeah.
because you are embracing your beauty today, and I just find it
Yeah, I do.
amazing that you were dressed in yellow because you are sticking to your beauty. It's so beautiful. It's perfect.
And
That's
now
so
she's
nice.
blushing.
Yeah, totally. I'm full blush.
Red and
Thank you.
yellow. How long?
Luisa, how about your dad? Your dad's
Oh yeah,
findings
I have a
yesterday. You have
beautiful
to tell that
story.
story.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have a beautiful story for y'all. My I've been telling my dad to read the book, the Course of Miracles, since maybe 1 year and a half already, or maybe more, 2 years when I found it. And he is a very he's a psychologist, and he was a bookkeeper. He had a bookstore for about 40 years, so he's a very rational person, and nothing about he was never, I never saw him in a church. I think the first time I saw him was when my mom died. That's it. He is not spiritual. Well, of course he is, because he's a spirit being, but he's not really, aware of that. And so he was always trying to, and he said every time in the bookstore, I open the book and it's not my thing. It's not my thing. I don't want it. I no, that's not. No, I'm not. And I was sending YouTube videos, podcasts, the books, explanations, anything. No, he was fighting with it. And then he said, but you know what? I have this pain, so I will go for a massage to a spa or a friend of mine. And he went to this spa, and there he met a woman, and the woman started to speak about an amazing guide that she had many years ago, but he died, and he was a German guy living in Colombia, and his name was Gerardo Schmidling. and and he was my father. My dad he's very difficult for someone to really, to surprise him. He's not really, it is very, yeah, he's not really surprised with things, but he got surprised because the doctors from the spa, who is a very, respectable guy, he was like, oh yes, Gerardo Schmidling, that was a very good I really like him, and he's a master. No. So my dad got like beaten, like how you say it? He got bite. I know he got like curious, and he
Yeah,
went back
he bought
home,
that.
and he went back home and he started to look about this guy on YouTube, and he it really resonated with him when he was. And I said like, and what is he talking about? And then I was like, who is this guy? And I went to the internet and I found, I wrote down in a Google search, relationship between Course in Miracles and Gerardo Schmidling, and it's just there. There was a book. There was this blog about the Gary Renard and all the books and the relationship between Gerardo Schmidt, and like the teachings of Gerardo Schmidling are Colombianized version of the Course of Miracles. So I said like, okay, Dad, the course, when the course comes to you, it comes in different ways, and it didn't come through me because you were not listening. The things I sent you were not resonating with you, but the course made its way to you through this woman in the spa. So there you go. Start to read it because it's now your time. You can now not really, you cannot
Yeah,
deny
you
it.
can. Yeah, you cannot disregard the messages.
No,
It was
no.
just like the message yesterday. I mean, God, it's really God goes with me wherever I go, even when I don't believe it. Even when I don't want Him to go, He is there. That is amazing that you tell because it's really like the same kind of experience that I had yesterday. Because Stephanie was really like thought deeply about the experience that I had yesterday. And we don't let things to be fluent in our Father's hands without feeling like attack in some form in our intelligence. So this is amazing because, yeah, if you don't, if you disregard all of the messages, God will find His way to find you and to let you know that you are always with Him. So it's amazing because even when you disregard completely the gift is there. I mean, the gift is still to be unwrapped, and God will give it to you no matter what. So it's amazing. Thank you, Luisa, for that sharing. It's amazing. So he is reading now the book, right?
He will. I think he will. I just find, yeah. I don't know if he's going to read the book as such, but at least he will. He's now more
At least
open to
Gary
it.
Renard's books.
Yeah, he's more open to it, and he's not open because I'm saying, but just because he got, yeah, because the other. I think it's a game of his ego. Like, okay, this doctor who is so respectable is talking about him. I gotta know about it.
That's so nice. Well, right now, Lee probably is taking Dean to school. I don't know if he's hearing us right now. But if anybody wants to share something else, I have sent invites. But if anybody wants to share something and come up to the stage to say hi, whatever, you can raise your hands. We will gladly have you and hear you and share with you all. So I'm going to give a time for us to settle here.
Well, it's time for me to call my wife because I do that whenever I'm away. And I'm going to spend a little time with her and then go to a meeting that's been set up for me. So I'm expecting a wonderful day because God is going with me wherever I go. He's going to be right in the middle of the meeting because all of the other people are also bringing Him. So God is just going to be all over the place today with me wherever I am. I'm thrilled about that. Great lesson today. Loved it. Loved all the sharing too. Everybody's just terrific. The more people come on up and share if you want to, and if not, I'll see you soon again. We start here at 6:30 every morning. I'm going to say bye for now,
Yes.
and y'all keep staying here and talking as long as you
Enjoy
want.
Bye, Dad.
your yeah. Sorry.
Bye, y'all.
What are you sorry for? Dad, Dean's
Bye.
bye to you. Hoping you have a great day. My little boy's got a cold. It's like
Hmm.
hunker down here with me. We'll
Oh,
find.
okay.
Would you guys like me to read through the lesson one more time? God goes with me wherever I go.
Yes, please. It would be nice to finish this session.
Despite the serious and tragic forms it may take, deep within you is everything that is perfect, ready to radiate through you and out into the whole world. It will cure all sorrow and pain and fear and loss, because it will heal the mind that thought these things were real and suffered out of its allegiance to these beliefs. That one sentence, guys, sentence number 4, paragraph 2, is in this recording that I listened to. And I've heard that sentence so many times. This idea for today, that God goes with me wherever I go, has the power to end all of this foolishness forever. It'll cure all sorrow, pain, fear, loss, because it will heal the mind that thought these things were real and suffered out of its allegiance to these beliefs. You can never be deprived of your perfect holiness because its source goes with you wherever you go. You can never suffer because the source of all joy goes with you wherever you go. You can never be alone because the source of all life goes with you wherever you go. Nothing can disturb your peace of mind because God goes with you wherever you go. We understand that you do not believe all of this. How could you, when the truth is hidden deep within under a heavy cloud of insane thoughts, dense and obscuring, yet representing all you see? Today, we will make our first real attempt to get past this dark, heavy cloud and go through it to the light beyond. There will be only one long practice period today. In the morning, as soon as you get up, if possible, sit quietly for 3 to 5 minutes with your eyes closed. At the beginning of the practice period, repeat today's idea very slowly. You ready? God goes with me wherever I go. At the beginning of the practice period, repeat today's idea very slowly, then make no effort to think of anything. Try instead to get a sense of turning inward, past all the idle thoughts of the world. Try to enter very deeply into your own self, keeping your mind clear of any thoughts that might distract your attention. Son, I'm trying to read from over here. From time to time, you may repeat today's idea if you find it helpful. But most of all, try to sink down and inward, away from the world and from all the foolish thoughts of the world. You're trying to reach past all of these things. You're trying to leave appearances and approach reality. It is quite possible to reach God. In fact, it's very easy because it's the most natural thing in the world. You might even say it was the only natural thing in the world. The way will open if you believe that it is possible. This exercise can bring very startling results even the first time it's attempted. And sooner or later, it is always successful. We will go into more detail in connection with this kind of practice as we go along, but it will never fail completely, and instant success is possible. Throughout the day, use this idea often, repeating it very slowly, preferably with your eyes closed. Think of what you're saying, what the words mean. Concentrate on the holiness they imply about you, on the unfailing companionship that is yours, on the complete protection that surrounds you. You can indeed afford to laugh at fear thoughts, remembering that God goes with you wherever you go. Peace be with you all. I hope you have a wonderful day with God with you throughout the day. And I'll be here tomorrow at 6:30 to read the next one. I love you all.
Thank you. I just want to shout out, Jose, how do you say that? Shout out to Sheila's picture. I love your picture and what you do, helping people to write their own song from their heart. So if you want to come and to say hello, or if not, just want to know that, loving what you do. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Wonderful and beautiful day.
Create a great day. Namaste.
Namaste, Tom. Thank you.
Namaste. Bye.